Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Scarselletti. You're looking up as a mighty fine musician even today. As a 1965 graduate of SHS, I remember Mr. Scarselletti coming into my grade school, carrying with him a bag, and he pulled out that bag was a flutophone. As I was jotting things down what to say today, I could not believe the number of similarities him and I had. During the summers, I played in the Perryville men's band. I would not play in Lehigh men's band as he was the director. After high school, I entered the Army. He was a 5-year Navy veteran. He went to Westchester State. I went to Mansfield University. Both of us majored in music education. In the marching band of SHS, I played the trombone in the first row out front, marching next to Mr. Scarselletti. He always lined himself up next to me. He had a very strict attitude toward marching. He always had a theme for his spring concerts. 1962 was Sound of Music. 1963 was Jubilee. 1964 was Showboat, and 1965 was Molly Brown. In 1962, he cut an album and gave each one of us in the marching band a copy at the spring concert. The 1 year of 1963, Mr. Scarselletti set records that has never been beat in Northern Lehigh or Slatington. He had a 121-piece playing band, which I was proud to serve under him. I still play the trumpet as he played the trumpet in the Alabama and 40 Thieves. I still play for veterans functions. I still play in a band. I play in the Raja Shrine Band for 50 years next month. We happen to belong to the same church. He was a lector for 20 years. I'm only a lector for 17 years. I am currently the youth choir director of our church and formed a youth bell choir because of Mr. Scarselletti. I always remember him saying, you gotta get them young, you gotta get them enthused, you gotta keep them involved. We were both members of the American Legion Post 16. I'm still a member there for 54 years, having served as commander. I organized the Sons of a Legion because of Mr. Scarselletti. He was a member of the Lions Club as past president, and me a member of the Rotary Club as president. We had a joint venture, a fun night at the ski club 26 years ago. Each club had 10 men dressed up as women, and we had to do a crazy stunt. Well, guess who was the judge? Mr. Scarselletti. He said to me, he said, you're up first. I says, really? He says, yeah, we drew straws. I says, I never saw the straws. I says, this is payback because I always told you I hated you in high school. After college, I would meet with him at the terrace at least 2 times a month and have breakfast with him. I hated him in school because of his strict attitude. But as we left breakfast, I always made sure, thank you, Mr. Scarselletti. We became very close friends. Mrs. S was also instrumental in me. When I was in 6th grade, I started learning the piano. Mrs. Virgie Lemra, who was at that time was the organist of the UCC church in Slatington, my first church, she was my music teacher. And after 1 year, she had to give it up because of her age. So I said to Mr. Scarselletti one day in school, he said to me, he says, how are you coming along with the piano? I says, I have to give it up. He says, no, you don't. He says, my wife will teach you. Well, Mrs. Scarselletti taught me a lot of church music. And I think of her every time I sit in our church to play the piano and the organ. Mr. S died, and I'll call him Mr. S. Mr. S died July 20th, 2010. But I will never forget how he influenced me and my attitude toward life, and especially his love for music. I played 20 instruments because of him. He always strived for perfection. He retired from teaching in 1982, but his attitude will never retire from me. God bless the Scarselletti family, and thank you for your father coming into my life. Thank you.